Oh, yeah. It's all coming together, Oil Country. It's all coming together in a big, big way as the Oilers defeat the Utah Hockey Club 7-1. Are these guys okay? What the heck happened? I was expecting a much better effort from Utah, and maybe I was underselling the Oilers a little bit too, but the Oilers played what I consider to be the most perfect game that they've played all season long. They absolutely torched Utah in the neutral zone tonight. Just a clinic, an absolute clinic. They've now won 3 straight games. They've now won 5 of their last 7 overall, and they're starting to heat up. Now, during this 3-game win streak, all their wins have come against non-playoff teams. So, not to put not to dampen anything, but we have to remember that the Oilers have some big competition coming up, and the playoffs, the competition is going to be a little bit stronger than teams like the Islanders. However, I'm not disrespecting the Oilers here. They absolutely deserve the win tonight, and if they play like they did tonight, if they play like they did against the Rangers, if they play like they did against the Islanders, oh boy, this team is poised to go on a big, big run here in March and April, and they're going to be looking for some redemption on Thursday against Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets will be coming into town against the Oilers, and that is going to be the big matchup of the week for Edmonton. Huge matchup. Absolutely massive. Winnipeg earlier this season, first game of the season, actually. It was the Oilers home opener. I live streamed that on YouTube. The Oilers lost 6-0. It's going to be a great test for Edmonton. I'm looking forward to that. However, we're still talking about this game. I'm going to kind of give my general thoughts. I'm not going to do the NHL Edge visualizer for every goal because we would be here all night. There were 7 goals for Edmonton. We don't need to go through it. I will go through a couple of them, though, especially the Nugent-Hopkins shorthanded goal that kind of set the tone for the entire game. And then when I'm kind of done going over the stats, I will go over the questions or comments from you, the viewers at home, which you can send to me on Twitter at ahockey1993. At some point, I'm eventually going to be moving away from Twitter, more focused on the Discord server that we have. I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. You can join a very wonderful, positive community. Now, let's talk about the Oilers' big win here. Let's go over some of the stats here and then the NHL Edge visualizer for some of the goals, not all of them. I sorted everything by plus minus, but Zach Hyman, he had 2 goals tonight. 3 points plus 4 on the night. He did have a penalty, but that's okay. He had 7 shots on goal. Zach Hyman probably could have had about 3 or 4 goals tonight. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 2 games in a row. He's centering the third line with Victor Arvidsson and Vasily Podkolzin, right? Remember, it's Podkolzin. Podkolzin scored tonight as well, but Nugent-Hopkins, he had 3 points against the Rangers, 3 points against Utah, and he is heating up, and he is showing that he was a 100-point player a few years ago, and, despite his struggles this season, despite how hard I've been on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for a lot of the year, if you're going to get hot at this time of year. Get hot in March, April, May, June. Let's go on a big run here. Nuge. And Connor McDavid as well. Of course, he had another terrific game. 3-point night for him, plus 4 rating and 16:46 of ice time. Now, Leon Draisaitl, he led the team, at least the forwards in ice time with 22-23. They were trying to get that point streak extended to 19 games, trying to hit him for his 50th goal of the season. However, they just couldn't get it done. Draisaitl, he kind of tweaked his leg or his knee in the second period. Not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's an ankle. I don't want to speculate, but it is definitely something lower body that he was kind of wincing on the bench with. He had been keeled over a couple times, and he didn't have the same explosive jump that we've seen from him in recent games, especially against the Islanders and Rangers. So for Leon Draisaitl, it's disappointing that the point streak comes to an end. However, he's still putting on a heart-worthy performance this season for Edmonton, and he will likely win the Rocket Richard, assuming that Nylander doesn't, catch up. He has 11 goals to go with about 14 games left in the season. I like to imagine Draisaitl finding a way to lock that down as well. It's not about the individual accolades. Draisaitl is just my favorite player. I have about 4 of his jerseys, so I'm always talking about Draisaitl. because I want him to get this thing done. Victor Arvidsson, he has goals in consecutive games for Edmonton, and he's starting to heat up. He only played 12:55, very effective in those minutes. And Jeff Skinner, he got a look up with Connor McDavid. I thought he had another really, really strong game for the Oilers. Podkolzin with a goal. Really good to see from the team tonight. And then Mattias Ekholm, I mean, absolute cinema. Absolute cinema from Mattias Ekholm. He played 21-27 in his return to the lineup after missing the last 6 games with injury. And Mattias Ekholm showed why the team needs him in the lineup, and he showed why he is likely the best overall defenseman on this entire roster. His play tonight, he was so solid, great with his stick, helping produce some offense, and he was just phenomenal all night. I have nothing but good things to say about the Viking. Evan Bouchard, he finished the night +4, and he had a terrific assist on Connor McDavid's goal at the end of the first period when there was about 4 seconds left. A beautiful bumper pass in the neutral zone that caught Utah flat-footed. Unbelievable play, and then McDavid, he just streaks right through the middle of the ice with his speed, and then he beats Vejmelka to make it, at the time, 3-0 for Edmonton, and that would have been the end of the night for the Utah goaltender. And Calvin Pickard, terrific night in the crease for Edmonton, a .967 save percentage, and he didn't have to make a lot of big saves, but I liked how mobile he was. I liked how active he was in his crease. I loved how often he was moving around, playing the puck, skating out with it. Calvin Pickard, he's quickly turning into one of my favorite players on the team right now, and the team obviously loves playing in front of him too. So a couple of goals I want to show. The Ryan Nugent-Hopkins shorthanded goal is what I want to showcase first. It was a great play along the half wall. He put pressure on Sergachev, and then he speeds in. And Nugent-Hopkins, he doesn't usually have that explosive speed, but it was his backhand specifically over the shoulder of Vejmelka, and it was just an unbelievable goal for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. A terrific backhand, and Jack Michaels and Louis DeBrusque likened that backhand to Sidney Crosby, or being Sidney Crosby-esque, with how much power was on that, and just, he just sniped it top shelf on the backhand. Nugent-Hopkins' backhand was shot harder than anything I can shoot on the forehand when I play hockey. Just an unbelievable shot from Nuge, and that set the tone for the whole game for Edmonton. And then, of course, I wanted to highlight McDavid's goal at the end of the first period, but the play by Bouchard in the neutral zone, this looks like a set play here. I think it was completely set. Bouchard with the nice little one-touch, and Connor McDavid, he streaks through the middle, and it just a terrific finish from Connor McDavid. I do want to play it again, though. Like, just watch McDavid, watch where Bouchard goes, where he circles. This was 100% a set play. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that this is something that they have practiced or at least talked about, and it was just done to perfection. I don't think there's any accidents when it comes to McDavid, when it comes to Bouchard. Like, Bouchard, why is he hanging out in the neutral zone in any other situation? Terrific play by him. And then I did want to highlight Vasily Podkolzin's goal. It was a great forecheck by the Oilers. Darnell Nurse, he made a great play in the neutral zone with his stick. And the Oilers all night in this neutral zone. I'm just going to pause this quickly. All night in the neutral zone. Utah couldn't get any transition game going. If you remember from my pregame report, the keys to the game for Utah was attacking on transition, finding a way for, to attack off the rush is what I should say. And they weren't able to do that. The Oilers played the neutral zone perfectly tonight. But Nugent-Hopkins, he drops it to Podkolzin, and he just, his whole mindset on that shot was just shoot it through the goaltender as hard as he could. It was a great snipe from Podkolzin. You love to see that. And then, of course, Mattias Ekholm, he ended up lighting the lamp early in the third period. Nice job by Skinner, threw a puck on net. Zach Hyman with the forecheck, rims it around. It goes off a couple sticks. Hyman, again, blocks the pass from going through, and then he absolutely roofs it over poor Stuber or Stauber. I don't know how to pronounce the Utah's goaltender's name. My apologies for that. But great game from Edmonton. You absolutely love to see that. Let's talk about some of the advanced metrics here. If we go on moneypuck.com, which again, it's not the be all end all, but it does give a pretty good idea of who controlled this game, and the Edmonton Oilers in all situations, 4.29 to 1.64 expected goals on the night. And the Edmonton Oilers, they did not relent. Even with a big lead, they were still pushing for more offense. And for a team that has struggled as much as Edmonton to score goals in recent games, basically for the last month and a half or so, almost 2 months, since the end of January, really. It's nice to see that the team was continuing to push. Usually when they get a lead, they kind of sit back, but Edmonton tonight, they took advantage of Utah's, I would consider sloppy play, and they took advantage of their own transition game, and we haven't seen the Oilers attack like that in waves. The Oilers were just attacking wave after wave, and I don't remember seeing the Oilers attack like that basically since the playoffs last year. Like, it was just consistently on top of the puck, on top of Utah's players, and Utah couldn't get anything going tonight. Leading the way, expected goals for percentage in all situations was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and then down here, poor Kasperi Kapanen. He did have a breakaway. He had a great opportunity. He was unable to bury one, and poor Mattias Ekholm may never score on a goaltender ever again. He had a couple breakaways. One of them, he tried to go 5-hole. It was stopped. The other one, he kind of lost possession, tried to do a wraparound, and didn't even get a puck close to the net. I feel for Mattias Ekholm, but he's doing the good things, the right things, and he's been very instrumental on an Oilers penalty kill that has been very, very solid over the past couple of weeks. And then we can take a look at some of the other stats here. Calvin Pickard, 0.64 goals saved above expected. Like I mentioned, he was not tested a lot. However, he did make the saves that he had to, and that's all we want from our goaltenders. I thought Calvin Pickard played a terrific game of hockey. Alrighty, so let's get into the fan questions, and we'll kind of wrap things up here. I'll just make sure that I'm going to the right post. Here it is. So, Nick says, they say it's not how you win, but how many. However, in my opinion, the Oilers absolutely needed a game this dominating, especially after the Isles game, where they dominated but couldn't finish. Nice to see so much offense. Feel bad for the Utah Soakers fans, but good for us. No, I agree. I think the Oilers, they were due for one of these games. They were due for one of those big offensive explosions, and it's absolutely something that they, I think, needed as a group, and hopefully they're able to build off of that. And, you know, they scored 7 goals tonight, but they probably could have had about 12 or 13 goals. Like, that's just how often they were getting on top of Utah. The amount of chances they were getting. Draisaitl could have had a couple. Hyman could have had a couple more. One of those games where the offense was there, and I'm happy that there was actual finish tonight. Tyler asks, where do you see Kane, Frederick fitting into this lineup come playoff time? The depth is incredible when this team is fully healthy, plenty of weapons. I agree. I didn't really talk about Corey Perry in this game, but I thought he had kind of a weaker game. Same with Connor Brown. I would imagine when Kane and Frederick are healthy, one of those two players are going to be next to Leon Draisaitl on that second line, and then maybe the top line as well. I'm not sure if Jeff Skinner is going to get moved around. Right now, I really like the line combinations, and I don't want to see too much change because that top line, the third line, and the fourth line are all rolling. The second line with Draisaitl, Perry, and Brown, that's probably the one that you're going to see some tweaks with, especially with Trent Frederick. I think you're going to see him take over Corey Perry's spot on Draisaitl's left wing. You'll see Perry bumped back down to the fourth line, and I don't know who comes out of the lineup at that point, but that's kind of how I envision things. Evander Kane, when he is healthy for the playoffs, I'm not sure where they're going to slot him in. I don't know if they're going to protect him with bottom 6 minutes or if they want him sheltered next to the best player in the world in Connor McDavid. I'm not sure how it's going to look there. Small says, let it be known that after last game, I called out how they hadn't won by more than 2 since January 23rd, and then they do. And for the pregame video, I called out Ekholm as my player to watch, and he had a big game tonight. I am on a roll. Yes, you are, Small. You've been on a roll for a while, actually, so you love to see that. Great job with your player to watch, and of course, kind of predicting that the Oilers were due to explode for some offense. Jan says, I'm super happy to see Knobloch roll the lines more. These guys need to feel trusted to have the confidence to produce and produce. They did today. Absolutely could not agree more. I did like the Knobloch. The only line changing he was doing was just trying to get Draisaitl out to extend that point streak or help him get his 50th. But other than that, he was rolling his lines. He's done it for about 3 games in a row now. Hopefully he can just stick with it. Just keep sticking with it, Chris. You've got a really good lineup combination here. That third line of Podkolzin, Nugent-Hopkins, and Arvidsson could be an X factor moving forward. And then Jan also says, absolutely smack. Time for vengeance against Winnipeg on Thursday. Absolutely. Trent says, nice big win. The Oilers are back. Echo made a difference. You think this team with the last 3 games can win in the playoffs? Of course, I do think the Oilers can win. They are, like I mentioned after the trade deadline, other teams in the Western Conference are loading up to beat Edmonton. Edmonton just has to go out, play their game, and, it's just one of those things where just a professional win, right? You want these professional type wins. I had mentioned that against the Rangers. This was another one where they took advantage of a Utah Hockey Club team that didn't have their game, and they were just all over it all night. Need to see this from Edmonton against Winnipeg on Thursday before I consider them back. However, they are very, very close, and they have been winning, which is really good to see, and hopefully their offense is going to continue to produce moving forward. Stephen asks, is Nuge back? Absolutely, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is back. He's been playing some of his best hockey of the season, and is coming at the perfect time. Erica says, R.I.P. Draisaitl's 18-game point streak. Other than that, I'm loving the combinations from Chris Knobloch. Is he back to cooking a Michelin star meal? And are we officially back? Yeah, Chris Knobloch is absolutely cooking, and the team right now is cooking as well. Clawdown says, after tonight, how are you feeling heading into Thursday's game against the Jets? Hellebuck has let in 5 goals so far against the Canucks, by the way. Oh, I did not even realize that. Have not even taken a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Let's take a look at the Canucks and Jets game here. Oh, boy, Vancouver's going to piss the Jets off. Yeah, it's 5-2 Vancouver in the third. Oh, no, Winnipeg's going to come in Edmonton mad. They're going to be very, very mad. So I'm a lot more confident in the Oilers' ability to handle Winnipeg on Thursday than I was before the game today, but they still have to prove that they can play against the top tier teams of the NHL. The Oilers have really struggled against those top tier teams all season long. I'd like to see a decisive effort and a decisive win. Carl Oil says, imagine if that third line continues to find success come playoff time, having Frederic and Kane next to Dry would have the 3 deepest lines in hockey, correct? Probably pretty close. This forward group on paper, I've talked about it all season long, is one of the deepest on paper. They just haven't produced like they are. But if they can start getting that production up and down the lineup, insert Trent Frederic, who was an 18-goal scorer, 17-goal scorer the last couple of years, Evander Kane, who is a lock for 20, 25, maybe 30 goals when he's healthy in the regular season. Of course, I do think that absolutely helps the case for Edmonton being the deepest team in the league once the playoffs start. And then Tulu sends a little meme. Thank you for changing my life. I'm literally just Mattias Ekholm. And that's a great way to end the fan segment on. I absolutely love memes with that format. And it's true. Mattias Ekholm gets inserted into the lineup and the Oilers absolutely dominate. Is that a coincidence? I absolutely don't think so. Ekholm looks happy. He looks healthy. He looked mobile. And that's something that we haven't seen from him in a long time. He had his voice back in the pregame interviews. So that was really good to see and here as well. All right, Oilers fans, that is it from me. That is my post-game fan reaction. If you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like button. And if you really liked it and you're not subscribed yet to the channel, make sure to subscribe as we provide almost daily Oilers content here on the YouTube channel here at Austin Hockey. It's an absolute pleasure to produce content for you. It's an absolute pleasure to, experience every game with everyone. And I know I thank you all the time, but I just want to say how thankful I am for your support. It means the world to me. I cannot wait for Thursday. That game against Winnipeg is going to be amazing. I'm going to be doing a live stream commentary on Thursday for that game against Winnipeg because it's going to be a big one, and I want to be there with all of you with the live chat. We'll crack open some hockey cards. I almost said Pokemon cards again. We're going to crack open some hockey cards, and we're going to have an absolute blast on Thursday. We'll see you then. Until then, though, tell someone that you love them. And as always, fight like a kid, fight like Ben. Let's go, Oilers.